Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Most assuredly, goodness and mercy shall continue to follow me all the days of this protracted experience of death. And I will dwell in the house of the most super intelligent power source and force of love, creation, authority, and meaning forever. What's happening? Benton here. Could have titled this The Battle of Denver. Yesterday, man, 14 plus hours. Tried to do an afternoon stream. I was still in the midst of the battle. So that ended up being abbreviated and aborted. Just leaving Denver now, in fact, after wasting, I don't even know how much money. $18, $28. I don't even know what they charged me for parking. I was at the last stop of the day, which was either 6 or 7 total. I think 7 total stops, which is complete insanity. Far and away the busiest day I've ever had. And if folks don't know much about truck driving, this is what I did yesterday is not over the road long haul. It's just not what it is. It's not. I did not do long haul over the road truck driving yesterday. And the bootstrap crowd can go fuck themselves. Get fucked, bootstrappers. Get fucked. And by the end of the day, it had me, as we bled over into the 15th hour, and it's supposed to be my time to do things like what? Rest, perhaps? And none of this is by way of complaint. Maybe in order to avoid so-called PTSD, right? Whatever you want to call it. But a debrief, a breakdown. You know, working 15 or 16 hours yesterday, whatever it may have been. And of course, in America, the American dream to do more for less. I guess the gaslighting is I'm supposed to be thankful for the privilege because after all, many folks are being laid off and losing their jobs. Well, I would never recommend long haul trucking to anybody except maybe under extremely specific circumstances. However, yeah, other folks, this is the same thing as learn to code, the West Virginia coal miners. Yeah. These white collar bozos getting laid off with their high education. Yeah, they're free to go drive tractor trailers if they're able to meet the qualifications. And I wouldn't wish that. I wouldn't wish a job on my worst enemy, sir. No. So I worked 16 hours or so. Went more or less directly to sleep. Woke up. Did an abbreviated version of my morning routine, which is mostly dressing myself for work. Been making 2 egg yolk drinks, getting my fruit ready for eating while driving, lest we forget. And yeah, all lane changes occur in front of Benton recently. In any city, all lane changes must happen directly in front of Benton's big rig. Not quite sure when that started, but it continues. It's like they were just aiming for me. So there's lots of wide open space back there that they could be doing lane changes, certainly. And up ahead, but I digress. So yeah, and then immediately back to work. And I also calculated the weeks that I work 7 days, which is most of them, folks. Most of them. And let's not forget Mr. Miyagi in the 2 weeks or week I spent with him. Based on how I work when I'm employed, he doesn't work 1 day a week. He doesn't do 1 day of work in the way that I work. And I don't mean truck driving. I mean just hours and actual effort and toil. He doesn't work 1 day a week. Please reduce speed. It's not, oh, they're telling me to reduce speed. Yeah, I probably won't, but I might if I feel like it. And here's another thing. Please reduce speed. I legitimately don't care. Pull me over and give me a ticket. Don't give a fuck. Don't care. That's called we've exceeded the threshold of misery. Don't care, lady. They can pull me over and ticket me all they want. Anyway, if I work 7 days, once I get to 93 hours in 7 days, I'm now making less than Illinois state minimum wage. So that averages out to a little over 13 hours a day for 7 days. So as unlikely as that is to occur, it's possible. It's possible. I don't know that I'll be keeping track of that, but something to think about. The American dream, to do more for less. That is the American dream performatively, like it or not, and to be thankful for the privilege. And the Epic Economist, again, I'm no fan of the channel, but Millennials Team references it. And one of his recent videos, these TikToks that get remixed, some lady astutely, and a lot of these ladies are quite insightful and intelligent, lest we forget. Some lady astutely pointed out that a big part of this AI scam, my words, not hers, is to sort of reset the labor market, you know, to do all of these layoffs and to have the people who are retained, you know, they have to sort of redefine their positions to utilize AI and all of these things. And people are going to be laid off and out of work for so long that when corporations do bring them back in slightly different roles, they're going to be doing, again, more for less. They're going to be happy to work for less money. And let's not forget, write this down, folks. Make note of this. This is an absolutely true statement. This is an aphorism, yet another Benton original aphorism along the lines of correct philosophy is the absence of incorrect philosophy. Corporations will have access to labor at the price that the corporation dictates, and that labor will be performed under the conditions prescribed by the corporations, no matter what. That's what America has seen. That's what America continues to see. And that will be the case for the rest of your life and if you procreated the rest of the lives of your progeny. Or wait a minute, did I misspeak? Life is a breakfast cereal. Mikey likes it. The protracted individual experiences of death. Death. It's like based on the low number of live viewers, I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to, could be connection problems. I don't know. I'm going to chalk that up to up all night crews going to bed, and maybe morning crews sleeping in. It's Saturday. We're almost to the holidays. They haven't told me what old Benton's going to be doing for the holiday, if anything. You know, nobody's asked me. I know with Vulcan, they had me a load to picking up on Christmas Eve morning, and it fell through. And by Christmas Eve afternoon, they tried to send me somewhere, and I said, "Listen, it's Christmas Eve. I'm not doing this. I understand there's people at a warehouse somewhere. I'm not going there. I'm not doing this to them on Christmas. This is a holiday. We're not doing this." Of course, the rates were a little less bad back then, so maybe they were a little more tolerant. But either way, I haven't even gotten into the jankiness of the load. Oh, this is janky, folks. I don't even know where to begin with the jankiness of two loads that are on the trailer. One going to the the greater Indianapolis area, and the other one going to Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville, Tennessee. I bet we forgot to bring our paper towels up front. I could use a blowing up the nose right about. It's difficult to get into the seat without all the necessary items. Yes, that is the one thing we've forgotten. In fact, we made an extra trip back for the water, the mouth rinse water, and could have grabbed the paper towels and failed. Oh well. There's got to be something in here. Something. Oh, there's not. Oh. Sorry, we're not following big rigs. You're going to have to go ahead and make your own way in the world. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We're not following big rigs out here in Florida. No, make your own way there, little fishy. Little Colorado avalanche. You're going to have to hide from a DUI somewhere else. Sorry about your luck. That's your bold American. Your bold American conquering motoring public. So the first load on the trailer after I got loaded down in Monument, south of Denver, north of Colorado Springs. All right, well, 50 it is. I'm now the flow of traffic, so 50 miles an hour it is. I've got all day, folks. I've got all day. Pulling over to the shoulder. Blow our nose. Every car that comes is going to try to ride old Benton to the promised land. Every one. I already see the pattern emerging. Imagine preferentially catching up to and preferentially following big rigs. And yes, I know most minds will immediately begin to make excuses for them. I understand. And that's part of the American people will tolerate anything whatsoever. There's no end to what the American people will tolerate. And because of the internalized authoritarianism of individuals, which is the only way to have a strongly authoritarian government, it's the only way to have it. That's what we do. We collectively, Americans, co-sign and sign off on each other's bullshit and weakness and ineptitude. And that's fucking bullshit, and I'm not a part of it. What I am can't be a part of that, actually. It's not possible. It's a violation. Did you talk to the criminal? And I halfway hope a bunch of shit goes wrong with these loads, both of them. And I'm just going to be like, hey, why are you talking to me? Did you talk to the criminal? They were going to like, what are you talking about? I mean, y'all the one that did all this. What do you mean? You were there. You were supposed to do this, that, and the third. Oh, I was? Nobody told me I was supposed to do that. Okay, well, whatever. And I won't even get into it. See, I'm starting to feel the potential resentments rise. up in the increasingly sensitive internal spaces. I'm not even going to get into that. I won't even take it that far. I'm just going to be like, hey, why are you talking to me? Did you talk to the criminal? And then they're going to be like, well, this happened and that happened and this happened. Okay, well, what do you want me to do? I mean, but I don't, but not in that tone of voice. I'll just be like, well, all right, that's unfortunate. Now, I guess let me know whatever y'all need me to do. I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm here, white nigger coolie style. Y'all have more or less taken me as a slave at this point. So, I mean, why are you talking to me about it? Is there going to be a whipping later? I mean, shit. What's going on here? The beatings will continue until morale approves type shit. What the fuck's going on? What even is this? White nigger coolie me harder, daddy. Goodness. Or mommy, I guess. Would be more appropriate. Here come the rigs. Hadn't seen a single rig. We pulled over to the shoulder. Now we're speeding up to merge over. Now here come the rigs. Nothing but big rigs in the rear view for miles back there. Just a big old line of big rigs. Waking dreams, surrealistic unreality. Deja vu all over again. They got over for me. Thanks, fellas. Much appreciated. Y'all are credit to your nation. Ha ha ha. Now we're going to roll 55 to stay out of the pack. Stretch my shoulder. I felt a little bit of resentment there. I got a little too closely identified with the anger. That's not appropriate. Boy, howdy. Oh, and one four-wheeler to normalize slow big rigs. Thanks, Norby. Thanks for normalizing slow big rigs and forcing that big rig behind you to slow down as a result. Good job, buddy. It's 75 zone. I'm going 50. Oh, Oklahoma. Never mind. All is forgiven. Now we understand. Now we see through a glass darkly. Oklahoma plates. Say no more. Carry on, sir. That's your MO. Honk at me all you want. I don't give a fuck. Is that the horn? He must be pissed off. What are you mad about, sir? Surely not anything I'm doing. Might have just been their trailer making some rackets. That wasn't the air horn. No, they're not out here blowing the city horn. 6 big rigs. Out of nowhere. Big rig out of hell. No money. No money for meatloaf. Chicken in every pot, folks. So got loaded in Monument, went to the cross dock in Denver. They unloaded that load. Then I was supposed to go to a U-Haul place to get 24 blankets that the company was going to rent to secure the next load that I believe was in Aurora. It's all Denver. I mean, it's all the same shit. If you're not, the locals, it's differentiated. But either way, so then 20 minutes waiting for trains. And comically, the arms would go back up It would never. I would never be given the signal to turn and cross the tracks, and then the arms would go back down, and another train would come. That happened 3 times. Total of 18 minutes, and the only reason I got out of there was I finally just the arms were up, and I never got the green arrow, and I finally just ran the fucking light. Look back, and the trailer's going up over a foot tall curb, and then later on, I think it fucked up the load leveling. It's been making a racket ever since. And whatever. There's no time. Listen to this. The way they're scheduling me and continue to run me, there's no time to put air in the tires. There's no time to go to a shop if something needs to be looked at. There's only time for that if I literally don't sleep. Like, for real. Yeah, that's it. So at this point, I don't care. And all I'm going to say is, did you talk? Why are you talking to me? Did you talk to the criminal? Oh, well, why didn't you put air in the tires? When? Or I stopped for fuel, and maybe there is time to put air in the tires. Well, there's no air at that particular truck stop. Some of them have air, some don't. It's just sort of hit or miss. It's like, okay, well, I'm here. I've got maybe I've got, if I hurry, 10 minutes to do this. Where's the fucking air? I guess I got to carry my own air compressor. Realistically, you got to carry your own air compressor, I think. And I'm not even complaining. I'm just telling y'all what it is. Bootstrappers get fucked. That needs to be a stream title. Bootstrappers can go fuck themselves. Get fucked, bootstrappers. See, this is the thing about that 68. Now I'm caught up to the fucking pack, but I can't go over 71. And we're going to have a talk with the company. It's going to be like, look, y'all just got to lie to me about this and tell me that your insurance won't let you go over 71. Or you have to turn the fucking truck up to 75. I don't know what to tell you. This ain't working for me. So we're going to the dealer today, or I want to tell you, I'm not going to continue to do this. This is crazy. Why are you bright lighting me there, TMC? That's crazy. Is you crazy? Oh, this must be owner operator up in front of me, king of the road. Yeah, he just wants a buddy to drive with, but he don't want to go slow pack speeds. Yeah, it's luring me in. No, it's not going to work for me, partner. So make your own way. And that's another thing about long haul, not knowing these areas really. Like, there's parking, maybe they're fairly full, but there's probably is parking, especially with the depression, right? I understand the government refuses to even announce a recession. By the way, what recently was a recession by definition, and the government just decided to, well, that's not a recession. I forget it's 2 consecutive quarters of like negative GDP growth or something along those lines. And that happened, and they just decided not to declare a recession. And, that may be that trailer making noise, that load leveling. At some point, I'm going to pull into, it's loud enough, I'm going to pull into a way station, and they're going to hear that, inspect it. But whatever. I don't care. It's going like E. Yeah, this guy's he's adjusting his speed to try to get me to catch up and pass him, but then he's going to speed up when I try to pass him because I'm sitting duck style with my 71, governed at 71. He's trying to drive me from the front here. Thanks, buddy. King of the road. So bored. Is it that boring out here, sir? You can't find something to do? Got to try to recruit me to get involved in your silliness? Why? For what? Why am I going 60 now? Try to get you away from me, but now the ones behind me are going to catch up. So I got to speed back up. Now he's all over the road up there. We'll find somebody else to hang out with. Get This is the adversarial realm of past humanity. Predatory and adversarial and exploitative. What if I don't want to hang out with you, sir? Shouldn't I have some sort of say in that? Oh, that's right. DBA, doing business as white nigger coolie. We forgot. Thanks for reminding me. Something about taking all beatings. Let's try 66. See if that works. Remember, it's 75 out here, folks. A lot of these trucks can go 75 and even 80. A lot of. I think most of the ones behind us is getting the fuel bonus. They're going slow on purpose. They got time. They're not doing just in time freight like I am most of the time. I'm parched. Bear with me. I'm going to hydrate here. Okay, where was I in the story? I'm not a storytelling. It's not one of the skills of Mr. Benton. Load it up. Thought I got the paper towels. Oh, there they are. Fine. Okay, so got loaded in Monument. Remember, this is well into the day. This is after already driving, I don't even know how many miles to Denver. 3.5 hours to Denver. I believe we hit some of the rush hour morning traffic, so started driving before the sun came up. Let's just start at the beginning. Why not? 3.5 hours. Got unloaded. What was on the? We had 3 loads on the trailer. Got so stop number 1 was 2 large moving crates, offloaded right at 8 a.m. in Aurora, so east side, I believe, of Denver, near I-70. That went fairly smoothly, or went smoothly. Then proceeded to trying to remember what was. That's not correct. I had 2 loads on the trailer. Okay. So got the first of the 2 loads unloaded, then went to the cross dock in the city limits of Denver, which I guess has some affiliation with the company. I think what happens is a larger company owns the company I work that I'm allowing to employ me as a contractor. And I believe they also own this warehouse, I believe. Get it a wholly owned subsidiary type shit. Or it's the, some Eastern European mafia or whatever. Whatever the case may be. Don't know, don't care. So they unload the remaining load on the trailer, and that's going to be delivered in Aurora Monday night to a food warehouse. K-E, K-E-H-E. Big K, little E, big H, little E. He, I don't know, whatever the fuck. And don't know, don't care. And so then so that's stop number 2. I go empty an hour plus south of the Monument. Now, to get to the cross docks, let's back up. So after stop 1, en route, I'm almost to the cross dock. Well, there's been power outages and the railroad crossing's all fucked. So I can't cross these train tracks, and I'm almost to the cross dock. So that adds 30 minutes as I figure out how to get to the cross dock while simultaneously facing the correct direction to not have to blindside back off the street. Which I've yet to see somebody do there, so I think people have probably been told not to do that. I've seen a guy pull off a U-turn, but he was in a day cab. Either way, that's 30 solid minutes because traffic's backing up from the confusion and chaos of the road closure. Also, I had no choice but to turn into a Safeway warehouse and just hope they didn't cuss me out for, hey, you can't turn around here. And it's like, oh, I understand, but just nowhere else to go. So I'm already here, so I don't know what to tell you. But they didn't molest me any further. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. There's nowhere to go. The road's closed. Made it to the cross dock. Waited about 45 minutes. They unloaded the 16 pallets, 15 pallets, whatever it was. Gave them the bills of lading, the seal. Went empty to Monument. Waited 10 minutes for trains to go by, which it turned out was the minimum beating possible. And again, if I had time to, there's no time. So it's like hypothetically, I could study the local area and I could put little waypoints in my GPS and be like, okay, based on what time of day it is, maybe I'll just go through town and it'll, worst case scenario, it'll be a push, but I'll have a chance of maybe not being delayed by these trains. There's no time. There's just no time or opportunity to do this. I guess I could have done it last night when I was sleeping, perhaps. Remember, the computer never sleeps, right? The machine never sleeps. The so-called AI never sleeps. We wonder why half the country's on meth. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to compete with technology to air quotes feed their families. And it's not a justification. But the proverbial just saying air quotes. So make it down to Monument. Hour plus down there. And I've been there one other time. A lot of autistic types, neurodivergent types working there. I forgot that they use manual pallet jacks, so they're unfamiliar with the sliding of the tandem axles. So I'm creating chaos down there, and I just almost always slide the tandems before I get loaded, or offloaded, but whatever. Oh, and both of my cell phone mounts fell off the dash here, so I took them. The adhesive is designed, if you rinse it off with warm water and let it dry, then it will re-sticky itself. So we got those put back in place. I was able to use their restroom for that. It's like an ISO 9000 facility or whatever. Because cold medicine, probably fucking cold medicine or something. It's over-the-counter medications. Who knows what it is? I don't care. At a literal ISO 9000 or whatever, FDA fucking, the FDA goes in there and inspects it. If you're taking the exit, you're taking the exit, sir. We're not riding my ass. What to tell you? I would have passed if it'd been me. So they seal the trailer themselves, which is somewhat rare. I mean, it happens, but it's not, I shouldn't say rare, but so then, of course, I go back to the cross dock, and now I've made a marker on my GPS so that I already know. So now I'm like going through a neighborhood, basically. There's other trucks going through this neighborhood to avoid the road closure. Drove, I think, 9 miles through of city driving, stoplight to stoplight, city buses, 3 lanes in each direction. Took 3 miles before they would even let me over into the right lane to ride the last 5 miles in the far right lane. Took that beating. It's already getting to be afternoon traffic. My dispatcher seems confused as to what time it even is in Denver. He's thinking, and dispatcher world, they're thinking, rush hour is about to start. It's like, sir, it's Friday in a major city, and it's almost a holiday. I don't know what to tell you. It's fucking rush hour. We're in it. Hot done. Can't nobody do anything about it. It is what it is. And I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's your job." Well, yeah, I understand. I know what my job is. Tell me. Uh, it's that plus all this other bullshit. Get to the cross dock, bust out a wrench, remove the motherfucking mechanism on the trailer that the seal attaches to, replace it with a separate mechanism. I shit you not. So back to the cross dock, they unload. I removed the mechanism, right? On most likely on behalf of an Eastern European mafia. Remember, like an ISO 9000 certified facility, FDA fucking inspected all of this. We pull their freight off, and then I go off to. They send me off to a U-Haul place into rush hour traffic, as I have. I forget how many hours left on my 14-hour clock, but we're running out of time fairly quickly. And we're running out of time to even pick up the load because these brokers will most likely cancel. If you can't get there, they'll just cancel it and give it to somebody else. Right? The brokers hold the carriers hostage in a lot of cases. This thing must be paying good. That's all I can figure. So they decide, okay, don't go to the U-Haul place and go to this I was trying to live stream during all of this portion. And remember, I haven't taken a break. I was stopped for loading and unloading long enough to make and consume my lunch. I ate my lunch while I was backing into the cross dock. So I was literally fucking, while I'm backing in, taking a bite and doing my best to thoroughly chew it, then backing in some more, then pausing long enough to take another bite. Like, for real, I didn't stop all day long. At a certain point, getting loaded in Monument, it was fairly warm by almost winter standards. Finally had just enough time to take off my hoodie and my jacket. Right, but I worked all fucking day long and never stopped. No breaks, no nothing. And get fucked, bootstrappers. Go fuck yourselves. Like I'm supposed to be grateful to white nigger coolie this bitch 14 plus hours a day for what then becomes less than minimum wage. Oh, it's a nation of laws, is it? Somebody ought to do something, eh? Put these criminals in jail, huh? Okay, but Benton working for less than minimum wage potentially. Oh, that's fine. Put him in jail for not paying his taxes. They're gonna have to put me in prison at this point. I'm not paying. If I still had my other debit card account, if I had used them if I had kept that account active, although I think the card expires next year, but then I could get 1,000 a week, I believe it is, or 1,000 a day, maybe. Whatever cash out of Walmart, either no fee or a nominal. It might be $250. It's a nominal fee. So yeah, okay, government, I guess seize whatever thousands are in my account. Beyond that, fuck, I'm not paying you. What? Yeah, I'm not paying that. Render unto Caesar, motherfuckers. They're like, I thought that meant pay your taxes. No, it means render unto Caesar. It means let the dead bury the dead. So habeas corpus, bitch. Habeas corpus, bitch. Why are you talking to me? Have you talked to the criminal? You can put the criminal in prison, but the dead flesh, have you talked to the criminal? You can put the dead, wicked, depraved, fallen, repugnant flesh in the prison if you want. You can't. I can't ever be in prison, so I don't know, man. Do whatever you're going to do. That's part of the story of Christ is, well, if they torture me, they torture me. I mean, I don't control that. That's what I told this company famously. I said, I don't. Guy started threatening me with what he could do to my driving record and all of this. So I don't control that. So whatever you do is whatever you do, buddy. I don't control it with that. I could do everything, and I didn't say it, but it's like I could do everything perfect, and you might still do all of that. I fucking know. That's on you, partner. That's why I toss. That's on you, man. I got nothing to do with that. What I am can't fear you, partner. Do your worst, Damon. I didn't tell him that. Anyway, where was I in the story? So now we get to the so left the cross dock. I think I left the 18-minute for the trains story out, where I then ran the light, drug the trailer, because I did, in running the light, I didn't have enough time to do a wide enough turn to not need to drag the half the tandems over a foot tall curb, which must have unsettled the load leveling. The air operated the pneumatic load leveling. Although the next heavy load will probably fix it, most likely. Now that I think about it, the next heavy load will probably fix it. Oh, yeah. So back into traffic, which is worse than after the 20-minute delay. And now they're like, hey, get to the receiver, the shipper rather, because if we don't go straight there, you know, we may not make it on time. And then, of course, I'm being talked to as if this is just obvious and I'm a moron, but it's like, and I don't become defensive, but my motherfucking head is swimming at this point, and I've already exceeded the threshold of misery, which is a term from gambling. It's like, no matter what happens, I can't feel worse about it. So it's like, it's once the gambler's lost enough money, nothing that happens can feel worse, which kind of feels good, actually. And this is how I defeated compulsive gambling. I don't know if that's an interesting enough story to get into right now. I transcended. I came out the other end of my own compulsive gambling. And that's part of the way I figured it out, but maybe I'll tell that later. Let's see. And I'm like, all right, man, sure, whatever. But I never punched that address into my GPS. I don't know how to get there. So, and I can't listen to you and punch all that into my phone while I'm driving. So, bye. And I'll do that. And pulled over because traffic was so heavy. I was able to pull over knowing I'd be able to get back into traffic. And did all of that. Went to get loaded. They said, yeah, see if they'll let you drop your trailer. Then maybe you can go to the U-Haul while you're there. Right? Because as long as we arrive, now the broker's not going to cancel the load. And at that point, I'm like, fuck it, easier to ask forgiveness and permission. I just immediately drop my trailer and disconnect in the door. I mean, what are they going to do? All they can really say is, hey, man, we're going to need you to hook back up before we load you. Okay, whatever. And so, literal meth head doc guy and literal demonic small hat, literal. This guy looks like he came from a concentration camp. I shit you not. Guy looks like Mr. Burns at age 50. A taller Mr. Burns from the Simpsons at age. I'm not kidding. It's physically what the guy looks like. Who I check in with. And so this is what this is what my brain figured out. This is what I mean by my brain does this 24/7 analysis, and I'm not that smart in the moment. So later on, I'll get into this potential spiritual attacks and impacts of what's now on the trailer. But so I can quickly tell that meth head guy is. See, meth heads love to do this sort of thing. They love some oddball load comes into their warehouse, not on pallets, and now they get to figure out how to palletize this stuff. Oh, it's out of date medical equipment that somebody bought at an auction. You know, some of it weighs 2,000 pounds. They're going to figure out how to get it on pallets. You know, fucking, you know, strap it down to pallets and then load it up. This guy loves this type of shit, and good on him, right? So I can immediately tell, because he's kind of asking me how I want it loaded. I'm like, I can tell he knows. Like, man, my best idea is not gonna be as good as your worst idea. Like, fuck to go for it, basically. Which that does sort of become a problem later on. But so while this is all going on, I'm like, hey man, I realize nobody's given one thought to how the fuck this Benton get parked for the night. So I'm already texting the dispatcher, hey, does the company know where I can park overnight in Denver? And meanwhile, I'm like, shit, I live in a truck. I got thousands of dollars. I go ahead and get on TA's website. I'm looking at the TA on the Google satellite view, you know, while I'm supposed to be loading up and putting blankets on this load, strapping it down. Meanwhile, I haven't even gone and picked up the blankets yet. It sells on the bills of lading 20 ratchet straps and 20 blankets required, whatever. At a certain point, it's like, okay, well, I bathe the load in the warm, soft embrace of cardboard, which is actually superior to moving blankets in some capacity. Hilariously, at a certain point, the company's like, do you have some blankets you could use? I'm like, no, I don't. It's like, yeah, let me use my bedding to secure the load. That's a great idea. Let's do that. See if Super Trucker's going to let us pass him. Of course, he's not. Maybe. Oh, this is Estes calling doubles, perhaps. Yeah, we will be able to pass them. I think. That's not Super Trucker. Super Trucker must have got on down the road. I mean, just off the charts absurdity. The sheer absurdity, even more transcendent of the absurdity of that lady's hairdo on the thumbnail. I'm just going to say it. Women were hotter before all this body shaping and fucking hitting the gym and the butt blaster. Women were more attractive overall. I bet she got a fine ass on her. I hate to be uncouth. My apologies. That lady in the thumbnail. I bet she's got a finer ass than these Instagram models in their fucking yoga pants. Fuck. Yoga pants, Insta models. Go fuck yourselves. Not interested. Not interested. Not interested. Give me that 80s full bush motherfucking, lady from the thumbnail. All day, air day, twice on Sunday. Her stomach's just as flat and tight as the Insta models. I don't mind a lady if she actually wants to work out and has some abs or whatever. I mean, that's fine, but it's not doing anything for me. It's not doing nothing for me. And I kind of like some of them weightlifter chicks, some of them bodybuilder chicks. They don't bother me. Put on some muscle toots. I don't care. I don't want to get graphically violent, but let's not even go there. Let's not go into. Let's not even think about the graphic violence. Let's not go there. Well, we'll have to. Yeah, there's plenty of women stronger than Benton who could probably beat up Benton in a fight. The reality is, the sad reality of fallen humanity is that at the end of the day, 150-pound Benton can probably crush the skull of most women with his skull if it came down to it. Let's just call it what it is. Most likely, 150-pound Benton in a fight to the death could absolutely crush the skull of the vast majority of all women with his skull. I hate to put it in those terms, folks, but that's most likely reality. And meanwhile, Benton's a pacifist, but that's probably the case, folks. Even if they can beat me in a fight to the death, probably I could do that if it came down to it. Not that I would necessarily be willing to, but that's most likely accurate. Whether or not she's got more muscle mass than me, whether or not she's physically stronger than me. At what point am I still conscious and my skull is close enough to her skull? She probably doesn't have a chance. Sad but true, folks. Sad but true. And also, at a certain point in the securement of this load, and this is what I talk about, I've lost my strength. And I don't know if it's ever coming back. Well, that's like my full body strength that I never had as a young person that I trained through weightlifting. But I still got my full strength in my strong hands. At a certain point, I picked up, he had made this double pallet, and I was looking at it like, I wonder if I can lift that up and slide this piece of cardboard under there where it's rubbing. I picked it up. I picked up the corner of it with one fucking hand and put the car. I mean, so yeah, I'm not a particularly strong person, but I can just grab hold of some shit and move it around if I need to. I can't like grab it and pick it up over my head, but I can just grip something and move it around if I need to near the ground level fairly easily. So that happened. And I was like, oh yeah, I am pretty fucking strong in certain ways. Historically, lest we forget. How's your grip strength training coming along, Toots? Anyway, is there any you got some 5-gallon buckets full of sand at your house somewhere? Anyway, I kid. I don't know. Enlarge the clitoris is probably a good way to always have a boyfriend, I would imagine, in today's sick, sad world. Enlarge the clitoris with steroids and various, various substances. Because yeah, women are on steroids too now, fellas. Women are on steroids also. A lot of them. Anyway, let's get back to the truck driver. Rambler. He's a rambling man. So get there and talking to meth head, and which I don't, dude. I don't care. That's his business. But looking at his fucking pupils, dude, it was demonic pupils. Went ahead and reserved my parking because I'm like, fuck it, I got plenty of money. I live in a truck. At this point, is if I never go there, which is what ended up happening. Who even cares? It's worth the money if I need it. If I need it and don't have it, versus if I just don't ever use it. It's the utility of money. It's actually worth whatever I don't even know, whatever I paid is worth it. In case the dispatcher's like, actually, you're on your own, blah, blah. Now, what I didn't have time to even realize was that I could have parked on the street nearby. Oh, unless there's a law against that, which is possible, which means the cop could come by and wake me up at 2 a.m. But surprise, surprise, that's pretty close to the time I'm starting my day anyway. So what's the fucking difference? Hey, man, you got to go or we're ticketing you. Okay, see you later. I'm out. Audi 5000 G. Let me white nigger coolie it on down the road. I want to make some t-shirts. Can I trademark white nigger coolie? Somebody make me a logo. I'm putting that on a t-shirt. That's my way into at least being able to kick back and relax the rest of my days. White nigger coolie on a t-shirt. Somebody can come up with some kind of my goofy face, I guess. Me doing soy face. With some kind of dystopian employment themed background. Just various absurdities of just comedic comic style, artistically done stylings of, the Skynet of employment in 2025. Fuck, I could surely make enough. That's enough of a sellout to, be able to live in a hotel for the rest of my days. Oh, Tesla died penniless, they say. I don't know, man. He lived in a fucking hotel in Manhattan of his own accord for the last years of his life. I'm pretty sure a penniless person can't do that. I think he more or less had like much of an entire floor. Right? It sounds like he actually had at least one suite that he hoarded to some extent. Hotel New York or whatever it was. But anyway, died a pauper of my ass. It's bullshit. Westinghouse or whoever, that's probably his hobby, was he'd get on the Tesla, get him on the horn every 6 months or so and give him a fucking tongue lashing. If you don't do this and you don't do that, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And Westinghouse just laughing. All right, man, we'll send over another $5,000 or whatever. Just hangs up the phone, shaking his head and laughing. Oh, that Nicola. Woo! Get fucked, bootstrappers! White nigger coolie in this bitch. Oh, man. What even is this? What even is this? Yeah, White Nigger Coolie Clothing Company. WNCCC. WNCC. WNCC. I like it. WNCC. Somebody grab whiteniggercoolie.com. Be on the lookout for uh, your hard R Easter eggs. All right, back to so this is a bunch of medical equipment, and meth head's attitude is, well, they say it's for parts. So in his mind, it's like, well, if it takes a little scratch here or there, who cares? And my attitude is, well, I don't know about all that, but again, we've exceeded the threshold of misery. I've worked my 14 hours without stopping. At this point, don't care, and don't really care in the first place. But generally, I'm taking pictures of everything. I'm communicating with the company if necessary. I'm sending them pictures of the load. I'm expected to wait around and get the go ahead to even leave there. If something doesn't look right, they're going to want to address it. Reconfigure this a little bit, and that way I can put my straps at this point because I got more freight going on here. So his idea is he doesn't want to move anything around because when he first puts it all in there, everything's sitting layered. All the pallets are flat to the floor. Up with the forklift, this multi-pallet thing, this span of whatever the fuck it is, and stacks it on top of some other bullshit, which is, I'm sure, bouncing around right now in the trailer. It's certainly doing damage to whatever it's on. There's no way it's not damaging whatever it's on top of. There's no fucking way it's not. This is where the why are you talking to me? Have you talked to the criminal? Which is, hey man, the plan was I was going to U-Haul to pick up some blankets. So I was told, don't go to the U-Haul place, go to the shipper, and then drop my trailer if they'll let me, and then go get the blankets. That's what I was told to do. So I don't know what to tell you, buddy. If you think I'm putting my bedding in there, you're out of your fucking mind. We're not even having that discussion. Do you have some blankets? No, I sure don't. I want to tell you. And they don't know. Maybe I sleep on a fucking $250 down fucking quilt or some shit. Who knows? So we get that all loaded up. I strap the shit out of it. Some retard. I try to get the forklift guy. I'm like, hey man, I might probably slide you a few bucks. If you're into that, if you help me. So I'm a fucking retard with even the straps in general. Me and straps don't get a ratchet straps don't. No, we've never gotten along. And so he sends some retard, I'm idiot savant style retard. This is just retard. This is just retard. And so I end up, at least two of the straps end up just completely, the fucking strap ends up all fucked inside the ratchet. So who knows? We might just be buying new straps at a certain point. I have no idea if that's even gonna be fixable or not. Who knows? Whether or not he was expecting a tip later on, I don't know. Don't know, don't care. It's like, well, I would have done better than that, sir. You helped me not at all, but thanks for trying, I guess. I'm giving E for effort and T for nice. Rest in power, 5-foot accelerator, not 5-foot accelerator, pipe dog. Yo, CB radio check. What is this? The Sheer Absurdity. So then we get back to the cross dock where the guy helping me, they've already closed for the day. Meanwhile, I've gotten the word, hey, you can park in the dock overnight, whatever. If you want to sleep in the parking lot in Denver, go for it. Thanks. This is like this is the lap of luxury. This is white nigger coolie lap of luxury, sleeping in a dilapidated warehouse from the 50s or 60s. You know, there's your American manufacturing and all of these jobs. And it turns out, I don't know if he lives nearby or what. They got to get hold of him. He's got to come down hours, which I guess he's used to doing to some extent. I think he might even have a CDL. He might even deliver some of these loads, perhaps, locally at nighttime or whatever. I don't fucking know. And remember, kids, you've got a hardcore group of Americans who are just workaholics, and they're going to work regardless of if they're paid at all, regardless of what they're paid. They're going to show up and just work. So they just show up and work. My uncle's one of these people. He wouldn't know what to fucking do if there wasn't somewhere for him to go and there wasn't things for him to do. Like, you got a percentage of Americans that they're addicted to working, period. And maybe this is one of those guys. It's like, he'll just, he's down. He's down, down with the clown. Yeah, Breaker 19, Joe Moore, indeed. Yo, Breaker 19, what is this? The 5-foot assassin, the 5'9" assassin with the rough neck business. That's right, Benton's no longer 5'10", apparently. Oh well. I guess that makes Tom 5'9". Not that it matters. If anybody knows Tom, we're apparently exactly the same height. If anybody's curious. And I can get into I recently measured at perhaps 5'9" and 7/8. Well, it's like, that's 5'9", buddy. You can call it 7/8 all you want. I eyeballed, I had her measure me again so I could eyeball the fucking machine, just so I know. Yeah, it looks like about 7/8 to me, but I'm not that adept at the fucking fractions of these inches and stuff, so I haven't even bothered to look at the millimeters, centimeters. 6/8 is what, 3/4? Because it's like, oh, I'm 5'9" and 3. But like, what are you doing? You're either 5'9" or you're not. You're like 5'9" and 3/4. Because they tried to make me 6 foot at a certain point. That's when I started saying 5'10" and a half. I think that's the tallest I ever got in bare feet. At a certain point, people try to just start declaring you 6 foot. It's like, well, no, maybe in shoes at a certain point. I'm not fucking 6 feet. I never was 6 feet tall. Of course, I'm just like looming over the warehouse guy. I'm still king of the manlets, lest we forget. It's funny, Benton ain't tall and broad-shouldered unless there's like one fucking manlet around. It's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm tall. Now all of a sudden I'm Chad and I'm tall with broad shoulders. It's like, what is this? Just laughing. It's fucking comical. Whatever. This is what I mean by this is why I laugh at all this alpha beta stuff. Like, the whole alpha thing is situational. It's like, yeah, well, Benton might be alpha until a bigger alpha comes along, and now what? Like, all right, well, who cares? Why would I identify with that? Who cares? Limon. Limon, Colorado, or Lyman. Lyman, Lyman. So at the cross dock now we've got again a load that came out of an FDA, facility, ISO 9000 or whatever. These just nice, beautiful, expensive cardboard filled with medications. I'm assuming destined for retail stores, maybe a CVS, perhaps over-the-counter medication. And it's just been, because it's going to go back on the truck, it's just been left near the dock doors. And somebody who pulled up probably in a straight truck and unloaded their own freight just got a whole bunch of what looks like sheetrock leavings. If you're familiar with this concept, like the butcher's leavings, like the what's left over after people been fucking around with sheetrock. It's a bunch of that is just all over one of the pallets. Of course, at a certain point, I didn't even see it, and I went over to a dumpster to pull out some magical cardboard. Has magical properties, to pull out some cardboard, and got it all over my shoes and my clothes somehow. So I'm still wearing whatever it is. I don't think it's cocaine. Cocaine. Yeah, something about boomers and Gen X. Why do I have to sing songs now? They come to my mind. I notice a lot of people do that. Is that part of the psyop and the mind control? What's up with that? Anyway, what's up with that? So now he's having to reload it. Now we're double stacking it. He's like, yeah, I called the company and they don't want to double stack it. But then he's like, why not? Y'all did last time. And we're having to ratchet strap it up high and it's all fucking janky. And I didn't even bother to strap the ass of it. Meanwhile, if I just left meth head somehow perfectly fucking knew how to do it initially because everything would have perfectly fit how he had it arranged. But and I wouldn't be potentially concerned about damage being done. But oh well, what I am can't be bothered by that. Again, why are you talking to me? Have you talked to the criminal? Meaning, well, I don't know. Why don't you ask yourselves why you done that? Because I'm driving, after I get loaded, I'm driving back, and the dispatcher's texting me like we should have 40 feet left on the trailer, and I'm like, after that, I'm like, I don't know what. Okay, I don't know what that means, but whatever. I'm glad you're on top of it. I don't fucking know. My brain don't work that way. I guess he meant cubic feet, because if you go by length, I don't think so. But whatever. Out of 53 foot. Excuse me, pardon me. So finally, we get all done. He gets all that. He gets the load on. He, just wipes the fucking sheetrock dust off with his hand, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that'll pass muster at the ISO 9000 facility, certainly. Of course, this does say something about the intentional destruction of which is absolutely being destroyed on purpose, just like this warehouse is being destroyed on purpose, or it's being destroyed by being neglected, because when it was built, the powers that be that planned and constructed it absolutely understood on a timeline it would outlive its usefulness, and what do they call that? Planned obsolescence. The same thing with the trucking industry as it exists. And what we're seeing now is that even as the government maybe does, revoke some of these drivers' CDLs and, puts them out of service for English language proficiency and all of this, it's making absolutely no difference to the economics of the rates because it's not supposed to, because the decline in rates is part of the dismantling of the trucking industry by design. And that was built into the design of the transportation industry. And part of that design was via so-called deregulation, which actually was regulation. And most of the time when the government does something it calls deregulation, if you look at it, it's actually regulation. So when California supposedly deregulated their energy market, which led to a bunch of Enron shenanigans and led to rolling blackouts and brownouts and all of this, power outages in Cali, and record profits temporarily for Enron energy traders. Well, that actually was the state of California put into law a bunch of regulatory bureaucracy to oversee the energy. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. Brazil supposedly did it. Whatever. So same thing happened to trucking, because if people don't know, a trucking company used to bid on a route, and they would contractually own the route. And by law, the freight could only flow along a route, like even in a particular direction. It was all, and that was considered regulatory. It was heavily regulated. So to deregulate, to say, okay, we're no longer going to have these fixed contractual routes. And I think humans do tend to think in routes, just naturally. So they deregulated trucking by just getting rid of all the routes. But then they needed to adopt regulations. So they actually deregulated through regulation, if that makes sense. And so that's all been a process, parts of processes that have led to now where like it or not, the industry is dependent on foreign labor, period, end of story. And the idea that, okay, well, it's a depression or a recession, and economically, if we remove a lot of these foreigners, then some of these desperate CDL holding Americans will take those jobs and the rates will have to go up. And even if that's happening in the short term, it has no effect on the rates, as we've now seen. It's been enough time. And now the people who predicted up to a 15% rate increase, if even 10,000 drivers long haul were removed from the industry, it's done nothing. And the people who predicted the up to 15% increase have said they don't think it's going to do anything. And what we also see is that fears of being put out of service won't do anything. The driver's either willing to work under the current conditions or they're not. So only if the government places them out of service, and surprise, surprise, even if the government gives them an out of service order, most of the time they just wait for the DOT to leave and then they just keep driving. Now, Americans would assume, okay, if they get stopped down the way, now they're going to be in a big fat trouble, because there's going to be a record in the computer system. Hey, you were given a lawful order to not drive this motherfucker. Now you've committed a further crime. Except no, that mechanism simply doesn't exist. At least not on the roadside. Maybe it's in a computer somewhere, but they don't have access to that at the roadside, and that's all by design. Get fucked, bootstrappers. Go fuck yourselves, bootstrappers. And my apologies to the circular aspects of this discourse, but one thing leads to another, as we know, and I'll not sing the song at this time. Not that I even know the lyrics anyway. So I just stay in the dock because I'm like, hey man, if I don't have to actually pull out of this dock, I'm just going to stay here and I'll, close the doors in the morning or whatever. So then it's night for old Ben. And here we are. Woke up this morning. Did not get myself a gun. And did my thing, made my egg drinks, and here we are. Yeah, Brondo. Well, and my favorite part of Brondo is that Hayden Church. Why can't I ever remember his first name? From Sideways, the guy from Wings. I was a big fan of that show, by the way. And I don't know that I was ever into cougars, but I realize now the age of them actresses. I like most of them actresses on that show. And shout out to old school Marky Post from Night Court, lest we forget. We talk 80s TV broads. Wings was 90s, I guess. And that reminds me, on the old CBO Chalk Body Outline Discord, at a certain point I was talking about a lot of these 80s TV chicks that I found attractive back then. And like Punky Brewster, who ended up having some big old titties, some big old bitties later on. And the chick from Wonder Years, and there was a few others I can't remember. What was her name? Topanga from Boy Meets World or whatever. Various, I don't know, maybe some of the chicks on. I don't know if I can go DJ for Full House or necessarily, but what's that? Saved by the Bell, Lisa Turtle or whoever. On and on and on and on. And they tried to call me a PDF. I got to Googling. I was the exact same age, or they were slightly older than me. Every fucking one of them chicks. I said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "Every fucking one of these broads is either my exact age or slightly older. You can all go fuck yourself." Actually, it's one person in particular. I said, what is wrong with you, man? I was their age at that time. I like to tell people sometimes, it's like, yeah, I was banging 15-year-olds when I was 15, not since I was 15. Oh, and only one 15-year-old. That ain't the point. Would have banged one when I was 50, when I was 12, but I was so sheltered, I didn't know that was what was going on. That's neither here nor there. I like to say women been crawling all over me since I was 12 years old, buddy. I want to tell you. Not all of them, but some of them. crawling all over me. I was 12 years old. Must have been when my balls dropped. Where I come from, if the boy's balls drop at age 12 and his daddy ain't around, then he's the man of the house. Trouble comes calling. It ain't mama in charge, he's in charge. Old school, baby. I outranked my mama in my own house by the time I was 12 years old. If my daddy wasn't around. They don't know nothing about that nowadays, do they? Now I watch body cam videos of Gen Z and millennials, rootin' tootin', fucking testosterone, working blue collar, plumber's apprentices or whatever. Guy's about to get a DUI and wants to call his mommy. Can I call my mom? What? He's basically like, you're grown. What's she gonna do? What's wrong with you, man? Basically, it's Southerners, some of them. Yo, you're grown, man. What's mommy gonna do? And they don't say that, but I mean that's the prevailing attitude. I want to call my mommy. What? It wouldn't have even occurred to me to call my mommy if I got in trouble. All the times I did get in trouble. Thank you, NPCs, for normalizing slow big rigs. That's what's now being delayed up ahead because we got four-wheeler NPC normies normalizing because there's one slow big rig. So we got NPC normie normalizing it for us all. Thank you, NPC normie. Woo, wind's kicking up. Might get blowed over out here. Probably got to pull over and slide the tandems to the rear. That does make quite a bit of difference. My wrist is still sore from fighting the heavy winds on whatever day that was, a couple of days back, for 5 hours or whatever it ended up being. And I believe that normalizing, that's the key to understanding the normie NPC or the NPC normie. The NPC normie normalizes all phenomenon that are not incongruous. And in fact, anything that happens that is incongruous, it very much confuses and unsettles the NPC normie. Because if the NPC normie can't normalize whatever's happening, it freaks them the fuck out. So they always default when possible. Wherever possible, the NPC normie defaults to normalizing any and all phenomena that occurs. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's partially, if not nearly completely, the mechanism whereby there's simply no end to what the American people will tolerate. So real quick before I forget, the freight on the ass end of the trailer is going to look so strange when they go to unload it. They might just be like, we don't know what this is, but we're not unloading this. And they might just flat reject the load. I suspect that it's probably seasonal medications and it's going to, I've been to the warehouse multiple times that's unloading it, and I suspect they're just going to unload it and not give a fuck. But who knows? Might be as much as a coin flip. And I'm actually thinking about gambling. The dead flesh is stressing out if I'm actually starting to think about going gambling. It's what I am ain't into that really, but or maybe it is, but not in the money. But the dead flesh side of gambling, it's not gambling if there's not potential losing involved. And what I am, yeah, there may be what seems to be risk taking, but there's no. What I am will never know defeat. So what I am can't stress out, but the dead flesh is stressing out to some extent, most likely. Somewhat hilariously, in my view. I guess we're going to pull over at this exit and slide the tandem. Since we're light. We're light. Oh, is this a rest area? Well, we're not going to pull over here. We know where to stop. It's going to be. But it might not be chock full. Holiday and such. Arriba. 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 Town of Arriba. Arriba. Oh, okay, I see. It's one of these like off the road. You don't exit directly into the rest area. I see. I see. I see at least one actual parking spot. Yeah, the holiday, I'm sure, has something to do with this. Yeah, I think I still hear that valve. I think might be a warning alarm, broken valve on the trailer or whatever. I need the hours, but yeah, it's not going to matter. I was going to go ahead and get off the clock, but it's not going to matter. I'm trying to save 2 minutes. Come on, buddy. Yeah, I think I see a spot. Oh, no. I thought I did, and I don't. Oh, that's a shame. What about this one? Yes, one spot for Ben. Of course, one bozo. No, that's a spot. Okay, good. One bozo kind of blocking the exit, but I can get through. Should I have been driving with my headlights on? Albert Camus or Camus, The Myth of an Extended Metaphor of Life's Absurdity. Well, there you go, Raymond Price. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, Idiocracy drink is called Brondo. It has electrolytes. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Is that's why I brought up that Hayden Church fella, and then I rambled on to other topics. But I started fantasizing. Well, not fantasizing. I started thinking about the chicks from that TV show Wings. He was also on that show, but played a doofus, of course, who, as we know, would have been probably banging all of those broads. But either way, not in real. I just mean like in the story. But my favorite thing about Brondo was when he comes on the telescreen freaking out because, the smartest man in the world, Luke Wilson, of what used to be average intelligence, has figured out. They send him down to the fields to figure out why the crops won't grow. And it's because at a certain point, the huge conglomerate corporation, multinational Brondo, it's got electrolytes. It has electrolytes, or it's got electrolytes in it, whatever the slogan was. Got the contract to water the crops, and the salt fucking made it to where the crops wouldn't grow. And because that's what electrolytes is, and for the most part, and so he said, "Okay, just water the crops." And the famous joke. Then the joke about put water on the crops, and the woman scrunches up her face and says, "You mean like from the toilet? Ooh, like ooh, gross water." Which is probably how Brondo got the contract in the first place. It made everybody think it would be ridiculous to put toilet water on their food, right? And so he's freaking out on the telescreen to President Camacho about how they lost the contract, and the computer the stock price went to zero overnight, and the computer laid off the entire workforce. The Luke Wilson of average intelligence wouldn't have been able to foresee this, right? As a potential outcome. That's my favorite part of the Brondo arc from Idiocracy. I've always been a big Mike Judge fan. In fact, if people don't know this about me, I like to say that my spirit animal is Daria. Was a huge fan of that TV show. I watched it, when it came out on MTV. And of course, Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, I was in college. Yeah, big Daria guy. Love me some Daria. That's a great show, actually. Holds up, I'd say. It's watchable to this day. Off the charts snark. All right, what did I even stop for? I can't even remember. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I'm sliding the fucking axles. I'm just back here yapping. All right. Bear with me, folks. I'll be right back. Well, since Dick is here and mentioning tea, I've already had my 2 morning hot drinks that contain yerba mate tea, uh, brewed, or I don't know if that's brewed is the proper term. I use a coffee pour over, mainly out of time and convenience, living in a big rig. Yeah, it's loose leaf yerba mate, which I don't get my pick of brands. So what I've been able to get my hands on presently is the Eco Teas brand. It's fine. A little on the weaker side for what I prefer, but Eastside Eye. Now, as long as we don't put the trailer in the ditch, we might forget that we make even wider turns than normal, but I don't think we will. I think we'll remember. Hopefully. Yeah, that'll help with the wind quite a bit. That's what happened with that guy that slowed way down. He was all over the road because some of these drivers don't understand what's happening when they got their axles forward and the ass end of the trailer starts dancing around back there. They don't understand even that that's happening, and they also don't just know what to. I just sort of know what to do to counteract that, to more or less stay in my lane at least and not have to slow down. I had to slow down though. The gusts got so fucking strong, I had to slow down at a certain point. But yeah, this will mitigate a lot of that. Access to the rear, Bubba. And I suspect that's how some of these guys get blowed over. I think some of them don't even get blowed over. They just lose control of the rig. So I probably drove a little slower than I needed to coming out here because I saw a couple of rigs. You just assume they got blowed over, but it's like, I don't know, man. That could have been a rollover also. Maybe they just lost control because they don't know how to fucking drive. Not that I'm great at it, but some of it just comes natural. Just sort of know what to do in a lot of scenarios when the shit starts going south. And what not to do, actually. It's more knowing what not to do than anything else. Or, counterintuitively just maybe stay in the, don't brake, don't slow down, but, don't try to do a bunch of it just kind of depends on what the fuck's going on. Hard to say. And a person either has that ability or they don't. Can't really, I guess you could sort of learn it through practice, but not really. Yeah, I actually told that whole story, Dick, and my apologies for not being able to finish the story. But I think I ended up making 7 total stops yesterday, which is complete insanity. And as a long haul trucker, it's effectively never happens for a long haul trucker. I mean, like never, but whatever. It is what it is. Yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I think I told the entire tale of that on here, pretty sure, in bits and pieces. Went on a bunch of side quest tangents, but I believe we got most of it told. But I guess I got it all done. But comically, the 2 loads that are on the trailer now, they're both fucked up and janky in various ways. May or may not get rejected. It's possible that hilariously both loads could possibly get rejected at the other end. That would be funny if that happened. I talked about exceeding the threshold of misery, so I no longer give a fuck. And, Benton here, what I am is not stressed out about any of this. It's actually unbothered and unbowed, but it can't be defeated. But I'm actually thinking now about stopping in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow. I guess that'll be tomorrow, playing some poker, maybe. I think they have PLO there. Pretty much everywhere has got PLO in some form nowadays. Although the actual gamblers, pretty soon they want to play 5-card PLO. It's like, I'm not playing fucking 5-card PLO, you degenerates. 4 cards enough. We don't need a 5-card, 6-card yet. 6-card, just deal all the motherfucking cards. Deal out the whole deck. Supposedly that's how Hold'em got invented. Like the cowboys out on the range. It's like you might have 20 of them want to all play in one game. It's like it was a way to make sure everybody had cards. You know, just give them 2 cards each, and then have community cards to make up the rest of the hand. And then Pot Limit Omaha is actually a form of Hold'em. It's Omaha Hold'em. It's actually Omaha Hold'em instead of Texas Hold'em. It's part of the reason No Limit Hold'em is so fucking boring. Is there's not that many large pots, whereas it's basically impossible to play Pot Limit Omaha for more than about an hour without you yourself getting involved in a large pot. The pot sizes are way bigger. Like I didn't, come down here to play fucking peanuts. I mean, I kind of did because we're playing a 1-2 no limit or 1-3, or maybe 2-5. But, yeah. I'd like to play a pot or two. Oh, we got stories about that, Dick. Dick wants to know, what if you go over your hours? Well, that's called going into violation, because the way the hours of service works is I have 14 hours to drive 11. That's assuming I have at least 11 hours on my 70-hour week on duty clock, which is 70 hours in 8 days, actually. Or I think they can run 7. I'm not sure how it works, but either way, whatever it is, it's either 7 days or 8 days. I forget. Doesn't even really matter. And then I have to take a 30-minute break if I'm going to drive beyond 8 hours consecutive. Right. So I have to take a 30-minute break, which that never happened yesterday because I was pretty much everywhere I stopped for at least 30 minutes. So that wasn't a factor. But this company abuses the gray area of what is known as personal conveyance, where I can go into the logs, the electronic logs, and choose the personal conveyance option, which doesn't take away from the 11 hours of drive time. It allows me to drive around. And then we also have something called the split sleeper berth, which that allows the driver to drive beyond the 14 hours. Hypothetically, without the split sleeper option, if I drove 4 hours and then I got delayed long enough, it would actually, the 14 would start to take away from the 11, if that makes sense. In some companies, like my first company at Schneider, they don't use the split break at all. So they just run straight 14-hour clocks, which I actually prefer overall. Shouldn't be my fucking problem. We shouldn't be able to make up delays or errors in dispatching by me just getting less rest. Or what if, okay, maybe I'm not resting on my 10-hour break. What if I want to go, chase the women around legally or whatever? Or let them chase me around. Whatever I want to do on my off time. Why am I? Either way, let's not get into that, but that rant. So I actually got confused, and I actually went into violation recently. It reports a violation on the ELD, and if I get inspected within 7 days, it shows up to the inspector that I've violated the hours of service, and then it's sort of up to them to do whatever they want to do. They can actually make me take a 34-hour restart at that point, restart my hours. Because technically that can make it to where I'm just in violation, like kind of into perpetuity. It creates like a domino effect potentially, where it's just like, yeah, you went into violation and you like kind of never came out of it. But the ELD sort of accounts for that anyway. But I misunderstood how something worked. Because of the split break, what happens is if I take the split break is 8 hour, it's either a 8-2 or a 7-3 split, because it's a 10 hours off duty resets the 11 hours of driving. So what happens is if I'm 3 hours off duty, or if I'm 2 hours off duty, well, then later on, if I do 8 hours or 7 hours in the sleeper berth, I get it refills my clocks, my 14 and my 11, but it doesn't fully refill them. So what that means is I can actually exceed what the ELD thinks I can do, and the ELD will start going violation, danger, Will Robinson, except I'm not technically in violation because it doesn't know if I'm going to use the sleeper berth later. Because hypothetically, I might just forget to go into sleeper berth and I might take 7 hours off duty and that won't work. So the so at a prior company that mostly hired inexperienced or drivers like me that had 1 year of experience, my dispatcher didn't understand, and I learned by accident that, I can go beyond this 14 hours. I can do the 3 or the 2 hours first, and the ELD will start screaming bloody murder. But as long as I take either 8 or 7 hours in the sleeper berth later on, the violation just disappears like it never happened. So I got confused, and I thought I could actually go into violation. You still can't violate the 11 no matter what. So I mistakenly violated the 11. So I ended up pulling over and taking 2.5 hours off duty, which then refilled the 14 and 11, which then would have refilled the portion of where the ELD would have potentially started saying that I was in error. But it turned out I had enough time on my 14 anyway. If any of this makes sense. So I got confused. I just made a mistake, which is fine. I mean, everybody makes a mistake. That's okay. If I fuck up and make a mistake and go into violation, that's fine. And if I have the type of personality, if I'd gotten inspected, I would have just told them exactly what happened. If there's a halfway decent chance they would have just been like, all right, man, like, we believe you. Whatever. Yeah, no, well, the loopholes are built into the system, and that is regulation. It's built. The loopholes are built into the regulations. Yeah, it's there to use and abuse. So part of this is if I just sort of halfway know how to lie, if the inspector's like, hey, what about this 45 minutes of personal conveyance says you went shopping, at a certain point, they can kind of look at the logs and they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure you went and picked up a load here, man. Like, we ain't done. Or if it's actually legit. See, here's another problem. I could completely use up my 11-hour clock. I could completely use up my 14. I could be delayed at the shipper, and they can load me and say, all right, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here, partner. And it's like, okay, how do I drive? It's like, well, because a lot of companies don't even let the driver use the personal conveyance. Well, now I'm actually legal to use the PC to drive to the nearest safe parking. Well, here's what's hilarious. Once I get there, if there's no parking, I'm free to proceed on to the next safe parking. But it's supposed to be nearest. But if the driver just continues on in the direction of the delivery, hypothetically, they could just keep driving indefinitely. Hypothetically. So, like, what even is this at a certain point? And then the driver could just say, okay, fuck it. We're going to park on the shoulder of the interstate, the off ramp. And then they get woken up 3 hours later, and it's the state trooper saying, "Hey, man, either you fire this thing up and start moving, or I'm giving you a ticket." And then he can go back onto the personal conveyance legally and continue fucking driving. And hilariously, after 10 hours of this nonsense, he'll get his 14 hours and his 11 hours back by law. That'll actually fulfill the 10-hour rest break. Like it's again, and I've never lived that life. I'm just not interested in doing that. Waking dreams so realistic on reality. And I'll just tell the company at a certain point, like, hey man, I'm just going to start running the straight clock if y'all keep doing this to me, meaning I'll just be on duty while they're loading me and unloading me. And good luck making money when I have to do a 34-hour restart after 5 days. Good luck. Because I'll be into my 5th work day and I'll be out of hours. So, and I can do that. There's nothing they can do other than just fire me. It's like, hey, there's nothing they can do about it. That's what I told ART is like, yo, if y'all keep doing this to me, I'm just going to start running a straight clock. No split breaks. Y'all go fuck yourselves. They backed off a little bit, not much. And that was only because I realized at a certain point I worked 46 out of 48 hours, even though, yeah, I went to sleep for some of those hours. Fuck them. And I'm pretty sure with this company, I'm just done with the split breaks, unless they're willing to. They're really going to have to sweet talk me into it. I think I'm done with it. Yeah, I will occasionally let them have some of my sleep hours. It takes me up all day and driving. I'm pretty much over it. I've done a lot of that the last month or so. Surprise, the 2 dispatchers that did that to me are no longer. They're either no longer with the company or I've been lied to and told they're no longer with the company. So, and the idea is, yes, we can lose a driver, we can't lose a customer count. Oh yeah, that's true. Guess who no longer? Because I used to get a little froggy at the shippers and receivers time to time. I used to get into it sometimes. I don't get into it. I'm on my best behavior at the shippers and receivers. They can say whatever they want to me, and all I'm going to do is, all right, well, I'm going to my truck. If they get ugly enough with me, I'm just going to my truck. All right. back. My apologies. I don't know if that was my phone, my network, or what, but shout out to US Mobile. Big fan. I have Verizon and AT&T on the same phone. How about that? So went ahead and switched over to AT&T for the time being. I've forgotten what I was ranting about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how many Americans waking up today thinking something substantial is happening with the Epstein files? Well, and you know, some will say, "Oh, it's all a distraction." As I like to say, from what? And I don't mean you, Dick. I just mean generally. Because if a person can't answer from what, and this is where Dick and I get along with the criticisms of Christianity and the church, it's like Jesus Christ is Lord. Okay, of what? Or people will say Christ is King. Okay, of what? Surely you don't mean this fallen wicked system. So of what exactly? And if a Christian can't immediately and specifically answer that, they don't know what the fuck. They don't know what they're talking. They don't know what they're talking about. Like they for real don't know what they're talking about. I know exactly what that means, and it has nothing to do with wicked, fallen, demonic religion that's man-made, and everything that traces its origins to this world of death and game of lies is dead. Right? I hate to break it to you, folks. Your beloved pets are dead. Animated death, death warmed over. Your physical body, dead. Animated death, death warmed over. The decaying dead flesh. You want to talk about eating animals and decaying rotten flesh? Oh, I don't know. Isn't that the condition of the so-called my flesh? What's the fucking difference? Render unto Caesar, motherfuckers. Let the dead bury the dead. You're supposed to believe a cow has a soul? Crazy? Now, that's not a justification for mistreating it. Whatever it is, it seemingly experiences sensations. I'm not saying do bad shit to it, give it a bad time, but it's not a living being, folks. It's not. The fucking trees are not alive in the way that what I am is life. What I am is life. If a tree is alive, it's not alive in the way that what I am is life itself, that it's not the same thing. It's a subversion of the creative force of what I am. Animated death, death warmed over. It's like the Michael Jackson Thriller video. If anybody hasn't watched that 13-minute long version lately, I would strongly implore you to do so. There's a lot to glean from that. That was if anybody wasn't around back then, when that first hit MTV, that was a big fucking deal. I can't overstate how big a deal that was culturally. That video came out on MTV. It was something of a minor cultural phenomenon. Wow, this is amazing to see all the vehicles that have stacked up on me going down the highway out here. This is incredible. Unbelievable. Just a huge group of cars. I allowed myself to get distracted enough. I look in the mirror and it's a big rig and three four-wheelers riding old Benton to the promised land at 68 miles an hour in a 75, where it's effectively unlimited speeds. There's no human out here this close to Christmas, this early hour of the morning, to do anything whatsoever about the speeds that somebody may choose to drive out here. So this is why they think that something's going to happen with the Epstein files, Dick. They can't even convey themselves from point A to point B intelligently. How could they cope with whatever the ins and outs of Epstein? And here's how deep that goes. I famously spent a year studying all of the conditions that led to the 0809 bailouts, global financial crisis, subprime mortgage crisis. I have yet to meet another layperson who's anywhere near as educated about it as I am. And I've forgotten more than most people ever knew. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. That's literally true. That's fine. I'm not trying to brag, but it is what it is. But then there's even Epstein ties with that, because Larry Summers, and he's to this day, he's either on the board or he's CEO of one of these big banks. He was one of the key villains at the time of the bailouts. And he would have been one of these banking executives that got these big bonuses. And remember how outraged the public was, Dick. And, the outrage of the public over the Epstein files, I would say, is probably pretty close to the same levels of outrage of the general public with respect to finance and banking executives getting huge bonuses at the same time that their companies were getting bailouts. Right. And Larry Summers was one of those key players. And there was this assumption that, well, okay, maybe they're going to end up with their bonuses, because the idea was like, well, and it's true, sadly, that banking and finance it does need these executives to sort of guide these institutions through the bailouts. And that's true. And, so in fact, they're not going to work for free. Because remember when Henry Paulson sacrificed himself by resigning his high position with Goldman Sachs to go be Secretary of the Treasury, I believe it was, temporarily during the bailout. I think maybe he might have only done the George W. Bush portion. I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember, or was that Geithner? I can't recall, but maybe Geithner was already Treasury Secretary. They brought in Paulson under Obama, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but I have to go back and look. It was considered a sacrifice in the world of banking and finance that he got $350 million in cash, because he had to liquidate his Goldman Sachs stock in order to take that position because of a conflict of interest, which they're just making fun of you and rubbing your nose in it, folks. Just like this Epstein file. They're making fun of you and rubbing your nose in it. Not rubbing my nose in it. They're rubbing your nose in it if you still believe in the system to a great extent. Certainly. And you remember Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party taxed it up already. And now you have the outrage around taxpayer money going to pay for food stamps, Section 8. Why should my taxes pay for this? And now, hilariously, you got California more or less refusing to go along with the government's, what they view as the government bullshittery around CDLs and long haul trucking and non-domiciled CDLs and all of this, and valid worker permits and visas and all of that. And California has its own. And I thought the whole purpose of America was the people of California get to decide what their attitude's going to be towards all of this. I mean, isn't that what America's supposed to be about? I thought, right? And if people in Arkansas don't like it, well, too bad. Well, it turns out California pays way fucking more money into the system than they take out. And as the world's 5th largest economy, now you have the Fed saying, hey, if y'all don't do what we're telling you to do with the CDLs and the non-domiciled CDL holders, we're going to not give you this $150 million for your interstate highways. Why would the world's 5th largest economy give a flying fuck about a mere $150 million? Gavin Newsom pisses and shits $150 million. Are you crazy? And people still haven't figured out that bullet train to nowhere in California. The hundreds of billions that have been flat wasted in California and have barely built any track. Barely any track's been laid. It's because they had to do all of that to unlock like $90 billion in federal funds. They basically paid in. So California pays in just billions and billions and billions every year. Tens of billions every year California pays to the feds. Most of it they never see again. So if they can access legally a government program and get 90 billion to build a bullet train, well, whether they lay the track or not, they get the state of California gets the 90 billion to do something with. Yeah, some of it goes into Gavin Newsom and his cronies' pockets. You know, some of it goes to corporations in California to, do surveys of the land. And, some of it helps employ people with the local land conservation and whatever the fuck. It's economic stimulus, whether you like it or not, folks. They're reclaiming their 90 billion from their perspective. And why Americans don't understand that, I have no fucking idea. Adam Carolla doesn't seem to understand it. That's the only reason I even know about any of this. I looked into it just enough to figure out, oh yeah, they've accessed federal programs that, Arkansas runs a budget surplus. They're not going to build a fucking bullet train. That's why they run That's why they run a budget surplus. Yeah. Could Arkansas kick in some of their same money and build a goddamn bullet train from Little Rock to Memphis? Yeah, sure they could. Could they build probably 75% of it with federal funds? Absolutely. Are they going to? No fucking way. Would anybody ride it? I don't know. Would anybody have ridden, a train from Fresno to LA? Probably not. Homeless people, or wherever the thing's supposed to go. Merced to Bakersfield. I don't know where the thing was supposed to go initially. Of course, the dream is always high-speed rail from LA to SF or whatever. But of course, that's not the sections and that's good luck getting that built. That's effectively impossible legally to even, that if anybody's ever looked into that big dig in Boston, what, the guy that supposedly spearheaded that supposedly achieved, some fucking nouveau version of Robert Moses in New York, I forget the fella's name in Boston, but in Massachusetts, but good luck doing that in Cali. It's effectively impossible. Wait, what? Oh, thanks, Dick. I've been yapping so much, I don't even know what you mean. But thank you for the compliment, sir. Much appreciated. Well, and again, I think in the long run, Dick and I can get along because he at least thinks for himself, right? And ultimately, that's all I would wish for people is that they would think for themselves. I don't need to agree. I'm annoyed. I find all sorts of things annoying. What's the difference? Who cares? If it's somebody else's thoughts who's thinking for themselves, so what? I can still choose not to be annoyed. What's the difference? And I'm sure I'm annoying as well. Who cares? That all belongs to the dead flesh. Render unto Caesar, let the dead bury the dead. It will not leave this place. So what's the difference? Everything that's beyond redemption or irredeemable stays here, so, spiritually. So who cares? Famously, my ex-wife number two, her son decided he was an atheist. She tried to blame me for that. He tried to blame me. I said, "What are you talking about? I believe in." I didn't know at the time to say air quotes so-called God. I was like, "I believe in God. What are you talking about?" If he learned, if I encouraged him to think for himself, you're welcome. But I don't know what else to say. Like, the kid, he just went to a university. Who do you think made him into an atheist? Me or the university? And I believe in God, and the university doesn't. What are you talking about, lady? I didn't do that. Now, if he wants to have a conversation about it, I'm not. It's not really what I'm interested in. But I'll hear him out. I don't. Why would I care if he doesn't believe in God? It's your problem. And his problem, potentially. What does that even mean? What do you mean by God? If somebody can't tell me what they mean by God, it's like, oh, the God of the Bible. Really? Which one? The God of the Bible? Which one? Huh? Now we're farther off course now. What are you talking about? Yahweh? Oh, I don't believe in that. Wherever the fuck that is, I don't believe in it by meaning follow it or identify with it. And apologies for eating on screen, but it is what it is. And I love all this. With the economics, I'm starting to see a lot more of this in the YouTube comments, even on Millennials Team's channel, which is quite non-religious. Oh, well, God, almost like a don't worry, God's going to do this, God's going to do that. It's like, well, buddy, what do you mean by God? And then furthermore, if the Bible's right and God is love, love don't know anything about smiting of enemies and all these things. What are you talking about? Vengeance and hatred and all of this. What are you talking about? That's not possible. As far as I can tell, the greatest enemy of individuals is their own flesh. That's the most direct enemy, anyway. The nearest enemy, the most pervasive enemy. Good Lord. I got the enemy on top of me. Literally. Well, seemingly literally. Absurdly. So literally, it's absurd. Because it can't ever be literal. How about that? Critical thinking, using one's own brain is the best quality. I can't, unfortunately, my vision won't allow me to read that. I'm sure you're right on the money, dude. Thank you for adding to the conversation. I am critical of some of the audience, not all, some of the audience, from time to time, who I believe could move the conversation forward or help move it forward, fail to do so. Yeah, testing of faith. What faith, by the way? What faith? Because where's the fruit? If you want to look at Christianity and faith and make the tree good or make the tree rotten, or better, hot or cold, the lukewarm spat out of the mouth, yeah, you know the tree by the fruit. Where's the motherfucking fruit? Show me the fruit. They say, where's your fruit, Benton? Oh, glad you asked. It's inside of me, buddy. It's called uncovering and walking in the perfected path and righteously walking the perfected path that lies within. If that ain't fruit, I don't know what to tell you. We're never going to agree to it. Oh, it's there. If you can't see it or choose not to acknowledge it, I don't have control over that, so go fuck yourself. And not you, Dick. The royal, go fuck yourself. That's not got nothing to do with me. I'm asking y'all, meaning Christians, where's the fruit? Oh, testing of one's faith. Get fucked. What faith? It's easy to think that one is surviving spiritual so-called testing of faith when they don't have any faith to start with. It's like Jack Talcott more or less declaring himself some spiritually, ascended spiritual master. Well, it's easy to do when the person either doesn't have that spirit in the first place, potentially, or is just divorced from it entirely. Yeah, it's easy to fool oneself into thinking that, as he claimed on his own website at a certain point, that he fully mastered his thoughts and emotions in real time. Okay. What thoughts and emotions, Jack? Because we see what you're doing, and I don't even care. Like, I don't watch Jack Talcott. I don't have a dog in that fight, but I mean, it's enough people are familiar with Jack Talcott to bring it up. Well, yeah, in changing conclusions, exactly. I have to be willing to, number one, admit that I may have been mistaken. I may perhaps have been mistaken in the recent past. Number two, to possibly step on my dick and be seen to be in error from time to time, or to say things that later on it's like, well, actually, he was just flat wrong, man. And then just open-minded, a practice of open-mindedness. And like it or not, anybody who associates themselves with so-called conservatism or right-wing thinking, that is a practice of closed-mindedness. And ideology becomes that anyway, but people who actually remain open-minded, there's a way more likelihood of their performance expressing as something that people might call liberal, whatever that even means. As if, how could that be a bad thing? Liberal? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? What do you mean by liberal? Like, oh, Democrat. Okay, I haven't voted for any Democrats. They're like, have you voted? Yeah. Okay, well, you voted Republicans? No, I haven't voted for them either. Well, who'd you vote for? People that weren't Democrats and Republicans. Oh, well, so you believe in wasting your vote? I'm like, well, it's not a horse race. Does the fucking voting machine print out a betting slip, and if my candidate wins, I get to go to the cage and collect my winnings? Is that how a fucking election works? Or am I supposed to just, oh, such and such is running for office. Oh, they're saying all the things I like. Let me vote for them. I thought that's how it was supposed to work. It's all crazy. Now, of course, I'm not foolish enough to vote, but I voted for president 3 times and voted for women twice. Now, some would say that's liberal, voting for women. Okay, fine. I guess I'm a liberal then, whatever that means. And then, okay, he's liberal, he must be pro-abortion. Nope, sure not. I'm kind of in the, well, it doesn't really, I won't be involved in that, but, it's, I got my own thoughts on it, but yeah, I'm not for it, certainly. And, don't necessarily have a problem with the death penalty. Although the way it's conducted in the U.S., I don't think we should have it at all, personally. But, you know, in a vacuum, if it could be done properly, I'm not also not opposed to the death penalty. So what are we talking about? Then you get into like gay marriage or, you know, cannabis and all these things. It's like, well, shit, the Republicans don't even really have a problem with gay marriage or cannabis these days. Oh, okay, so that's not liberal anymore. But people think Adam Carolla's a conservative, but he's from L.A. And in the 90s, he would have just been like, I don't care if a man marries a man. And he would have been like, yeah, legalize weed, of course, and would smoke a joint. In 1995, liberal. Now in 2025, people think he's a conservative. He has the exact same views. So what the fuck are we talking about? I still see people in Adam Carolla's comments who get confused about stuff he says, and I'm like, yo, he's from Los Angeles. They don't create conservatives. Like, what are you? They're all, none of them are conservative. Nobody that grows up in LA can go to Arkansas and fit in and pass for conservative. It does. It's not a thing. They're all so-called liberals, every fucking one of them. And isn't that what's more American than California, for fuck's sake? Are you crazy? They want to bitch about New York City. What's more American than New York City? If I say baseball, I can't say the word baseball without somebody thinking of the New York Yankees pretty soon after. What are you talking about? It's synonymous. What's more American than baseball? Oh, Bill Maher, he's this liberal leftist, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, did y'all not know he used to own part of the fucking Dodgers? Or not the Dodgers, I don't even remember which team. Maybe it was the Dodgers. Guy owned a fucking baseball team or part of it. What are you talking about? I'm supposed to believe he hates America? Yeah, I don't particularly like him either, but he makes some really good points some of the time. And I'm in the Dick Gregory camp of the filthiest people on the planet are athletes and entertainers. And if you watch Bill's podcast, he's off the fucking charts. That filthy, repugnant, depraved motherfucker. But he still makes some points here and there. Can he not? I think he can. Do we stop for fuel? Here's the loves. Or do we wait for the next one? Let me see. Yeah, I guess we'll wait. I'll need to piss right there. Let's see how long have we been driving? Yeah, we might go ahead and do our 30-minute break. Okay, it's too early to do it. Got to be at least another 44 minutes, or we won't get our full time back on the 8-hour break clock. And you know, why does Benton have the courage and the balls to just draw his own conclusion, put his name on it, and be wrong potentially? Like, to not do that, isn't that a coward, right? Like, you know, now you got a male Leo with, you know, historically high testosterone talking about, it might be a little easier for me to exhibit courage than everybody else, or than a lot of people. So what? I'm still expected to do a whole bunch of shit that don't necessarily come naturally to me. But, you know, boldness or whatever ain't too difficult. But, I mean, fuck. Like with when I went into violation recently, I had a conversation with the owner of the company where we talked about it, and I thought I was right, and then it turned out I was wrong. It's just like, yeah, man, I was wrong. What else? I don't know what else to say. So okay, it happens. You know, it happens. So what? Guess what? It'll happen again at some point. Blueberries. I eat about $5 worth of blueberries every day. A lot of people won't go, oh my God, I can't afford that. But I don't know, man. You can afford 2 for $5 monsters at the corner store. I guess I'd rather have $5 worth of blueberries. You know, what's the blueberries do for the dead flesh versus and supposedly medical science talks about, you know, some of these foods having anti-cancer properties. Well, why wouldn't I eat $5 worth of blueberries every day? They got this ORAC factor, you know, and free radicals and all this stuff. Antioxidant. I think it's basically just the strength of the antioxidant factors. And isn't that what cancer is, basically? It's the process of oxidation, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a scientist, but it's part of the fun of being an idiot savant is my relatively pedestrian IQ just gets sort of in conjunction with my intuition and my strong analytical brain that never stops analyzing. It's like, well, I mean, that's basically the process of cancer in the body is oxidation, isn't it? I mean, I think somebody who understood would say, well, that's an oversimplification, but yeah, I mean, more or less. Okay, good enough. More or less good enough for me. So if blueberries have an ORAC score, AOA, which is an anagram, I forget what it stands for, but ORAC, has a very high ORAC score, and that measures the strength of the antioxidants. And I eat fucking 2 cups of blueberries every day, and it costs $5. It's like, what about the sugar? I don't know. I'm managing to lose weight. I'm trimming up lately in spite of eating a lot of fucking fruit every day. So you tell me. Oh my God, fructose. Okay. I'm surviving it somehow. Mm. And a lot of people probably believe sugar causes fat cancer. It's like, well, does it? Or is it seed oils and bullshit hydrogenated oils in conjunction with the sugar, oxidizing within the body? If people want to talk about how healthy olive oil is, if you get real olive oil, sure, but if it's exposed to air for any length of time, guess what happens? It's rancid. Why? Oxidation. So fats oxidize under certain conditions. So if you add sugar to the an already ongoing process of oxidation, again, I'm not a chemically, I have no idea how this works. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but can't be good. I wouldn't imagine. Blueberries have been mushy. These are a little mushy, actually, Dick. Think about it. But these taste good, and I don't give a fuck about organic versus non-organic. But and I've got the money, so who cares? But whatever Walmart sells lately, they haven't had any organic blueberries. They just haven't had them. Recently, when I would get the non-organic, they didn't taste like anything. And these have a very strong blueberry flavor. So I don't know. Are they adding in some chemicals to make it taste like? I don't know what the fuck. Who knows? I mean, there's no telling what I'm actually eating here. At the end of the day, it is America, so I'm one of the largest corporations in the realm. I'm buying their blueberries, so who the fuck knows? But still better than a frosted honey bun or whatever. For two monsters. I've been doing good with the red grapes also. I do find them kind of difficult to digest for whatever reason. But resveratrol, it's been promoted a lot, mainly because it's found in high amounts of red wine, of course. But resveratrol and red grapes. Because the old colon, Dick, has been on the mend as far as I can tell. So without trying not to get graphic or gross, but seems to be happening. I had a release recently that was damn near a religious experience, I can assure you. And must have been a great deal of healing based on there were some symptoms on the pardon the pun, the tail end of that for the next couple of hours. I could feel some pretty strong. And see, it feels like the person is, there can be some discomfort or just person might feel sick to their stomach or whatever. I'm like, yo, that is the healing, folks. That's the body either healing or at least attempting to heal. That's what that is. It's not bad, And then supposedly energetically and emotionally, obviously, a big connection with the colon is Chinese medicine, and all this is, accepting and, releasing and all of this stuff. When you get into what is one attaching themselves to, turns into a whole thing. And and some of that is fairly obvious and basic. So I'm not really, to people who've spent their own time looking into various spiritual, writings and philosophies, it's fairly mundane. Lots of folks would know about that. So it's just kind of covering it because it's appropriate, but it's neither here nor there for many folks, probably Dick included. And then we have, of course, the kidneys associated with fear. And if you look at the pandemic, and fear, off the charts fear being pumped at the populace. And then I forget the name of the chemical they were giving people at the ICU for when they got sick with the virus or whatever. We can have opinions on what it was. It's a bioweapon as far as I'm concerned, but does that even matter at this point? Could be both. Could be a combination. Whatever. Uncharacteristically, old Benton went through a couple of years of more or less permanently being in a state of fear, and or perpetually, I should say, not permanently, perpetually. And that it just happened to coincide with, kidney failure, like literal, actual kidney failure. That's mostly healed as far as I can tell. I don't know that my kidneys will ever go back to normally functioning, but I don't know how many, what's the average kidney function of your average 50-year-old, especially from a place like Arkansas. I mean, it's probably doing pretty good overall, I have to think. It's finally gotten to where, I really learned a lot about the sodium-potassium balance in the body. And, it's hilarious to me that the symptoms of low potassium and high potassium is pretty much all the same symptoms. And I probably swung between not enough potassium and too much potassium for extended periods of time. And that ain't good, whatever damage that does. But I seem to have come out the other end of all that. I'm not intentionally on a low sodium diet, but I'm on the lower end of what Americans consume. I think I'm fairly close to the RDA, but I'm not even worried about it. But they say your average adult American, it's like 3.4 grams or 3,400 milligrams a day. I'm pretty close to 1.5 grams, maybe a little more. And, like the natural sodium in egg yolks or whatever, does that even count? It's like, I don't know. I'm more talking about like whatever's in my can of sardines or whatever's in the can of beans or, wherever else I'm getting salt from. Pistachios. I bought me a little food grinder, and now I'm grinding up 3/4 of an ounce, because that was what comes in the little individual packages. Pistachios in with my sardines or herring or whatever the fuck they are. I've lost track. And delicious, by the way. And see, can of black beans, habanero hot sauce, cayenne hot sauce, vinegar-based cayenne hot sauce. My habanero sauce is habanero-based. Let's see. And I know if Dick's still around, he knows a lot about the detoxification. I've noticed a fascinating effect where my ability to tolerate hot peppers, it's a direct correlation with how toxic or detoxified my body is. Because in a toxic state, historically, I couldn't tolerate much spice at all or much heat. And I can have habanero, like proper fucking habanero, like the brown people the kind of hot sauce I get, the brown pea, it's salsa technically, but not hot sauce. As an American, I think of it as hot sauce, but it's salsa. It's salsa technically. But I show them the bottle, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the hot stuff." It's like a lot of them are like, "No, I'm not into that. That's too hot for me." So that gives you any idea. It doesn't bother me a bit. Think of it burning on the way out. Well, supposedly that's a detox. That's a detox process. Now, I almost never get that. So again, back to antioxidant or back to the, you know, just pound, gram for gram, you know, cayenne, habanero, jalapeno, they punch way above their weight. And I don't recommend anything in particular, but, also stimulate the gastric juices, certainly. And then some amount of vitamin C, not a lot, but some. And whatever else is in there. And onions, white onions, chopped up, grated garlic. What else? Cilantro. Just regular cinnamon, but not too much. Apparently, that becomes liver toxic at some point. And ginger powder and a little bit of nutmeg. And none of this is for taste, although of course it ends up tasting good to me. I think that's it. Mix all that up, and I'm not a fan of microwaves, but I do seem to digest it better if I don't eat it cold. So it doesn't bother me to eat it cold at all, but I kind of prefer it. But it does seem to go through the system a little better if I heat it up. And I eat that every day. That's one of my meals every day. And I think now I'm going to have some apricots if I can manage to get this can open without spilling it all over myself while whilst driving down the road. The old man down the road. Fuck. I would choose a non-straight portion of the interstate to try to do this. What are you doing, silly man? Avocado halves with skin in light syrup. Delicious and nutritious. And the right kind of fiber, as far as I can tell. Again, I recommend nothing, but in particular. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit! I knew that was going to happen. I forgot to put my jacket on, and I dropped an apricot onto my hoodie. I knew that shit was going to happen. On my jacket, it just more or less wiped off. But oh well. I've managed to go quite some time without having to wash this hoodie. This poor seat. Not that they'll ever say anything to me, but if they do, it'll be like, well, your seat looks that way because based on the way y'all got me doing this job, it's either that or don't eat at all. So what to tell you? Hmm. Do y'all know what one of these trucks is supposed to cost pretty soon? They say like $230,000. I think when I first started truck driving in 2018, they were between like 120 and 150. I think. You could probably get something new for maybe like 185. I'm guessing, but you're pretty. Even before the tariffs or whatever, it was basically 200 as far as I know. That's just a truck. There's a Walmart. Could go to Walmart, but fuck, Saturday, 7 o'clock in the morning. I probably have to if I'm going to go to. Shit. Saturday. holiday coming up. I think tomorrow morning will be better. This one's got a teeny tiny parking lot. Yeah, I'll wait till tomorrow. Fuck it. I still got grapes and blueberries. So I'll probably be just about out of water for my Mountain Valley spring water. Now that's one thing, man, that's made a big difference. Actually, I probably should have went ahead and pulled in there just for the Mountain Valley spring water. You want to talk about kidneys and water and all of this? I can tell the difference if I'm on that smart water or the, what's that other one? Forgot the other one. There's another smart water. I can't remember the name of the other one. It's something WTR. Forget the first part of the name. Yeah, the old urine color is quite different experience. Supposedly the pH is about the same, at least on the vitamin water. And I've been against the high alkaline waters, generally speaking, but if the truck stop has them, that's probably the way to go. Because I can usually get liter bottles of vitamin water at, and they claim that's 7.5 pH, but I don't know if it's the electrolytes they're putting in there or what it is. But it's I seem to do way better on the Mountain Valley water. I guess I could do Fiji, but never been a fan for whatever reason. I guess that's what I'll do. Wait till tomorrow. So I've got, let's see, I got 6 liters on board right now. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I'm all right. I got 10 liters of it. I should be able to make it till tomorrow morning. I think I'm spending like $12 a day on just drinking water. That's kind of wild. To think about. Am I out of stuff to yap about? I guess I am. Thanks for watching. Bye.